Well, seafoam and pearls is our topic for today's webisode, and Teresa has been very, very busy. In fact, let me entice you with one of her cards. We'll get in close so you can really see this. And this is a panorama card. And how pretty is that? Okay, will you please come play with us? Okay, let me just show you what's in the collection. Of course, we start with papers because, after all, we are paper people. Seafoam and Pearls has 12 double-sided printed cardstock, and there's also 56 cutouts, so quite a variety in that. You can also go to any of these product pages and you'll see a video where I show you every single sheet, so that's fun. And then to coordinate, of course, we have the solid cardstock, 12 colors on 12 sheets. How pretty is that? You can see all the array of colors right there. And then we have, to coordinate, of course, the 6x6. Same papers, just shrunk down, and this time, and you get 24 sheets altogether. There are 4 of each sheet, plus 112 cutouts, so great deal. Our chipboard has 15 pieces, and I love the fish, just really pretty. Seize the day is, of course, fun. We've got a coral, a crown, and you'll see all sorts of things. Then we have the die cuts. There are 31. They're on 2 sheets, and they're all different, and they will just pop right out. And then we have also the cutting dies, of course. So seahorses, the 4 directions as a compass, our mermaid, and a crown for her. So let's get into our first card. And this is a simpler card, certainly simpler for Teresa. We'll get in close so that you can really see it. It is on our regular 6.5 by 5 inch card base, and Teresa first put a piece of the teal solid cardstock. In fact, let me just show you that full-size sheet. How pretty is that? And then she used a 6x6 for this area, and you can see this is the one, this is the sheet, and she used this area. So she started at the top of the boat and cut a piece that is 6 inches by 4.5. And before gluing those 2 pieces together, she did wrap jute around it, as you can see. And the jute comes with 72 inches of every single jute piece. You can see all the different colors, so it goes a long, long way. And Teresa especially finds it so useful with so many of the projects, so that's a nice thing. And then she's also added another color, and this is the, it kind of looks textured, can you see? And that is actually on the back of this same sheet. Now you get 4 of the sheets, so cutting this, you can see how it's right there. So she cut that piece, matted it on the same teal, and glued that underneath the jute. So that just worked quite nicely. Now, the 2 pieces that are there, let me show you where they came from. The first is the Happy Birthday, and that is one of the die cuts, so you can see. And as I said, they just pop right out. And they are already matted for you, and people tell us that they really like that benefit. And then, so that's been foam taped, and then this little piece, this little one right here with the butterfly, that was cut out and just glued to the die cut and then foam taped behind it. Now, the seahorse, well, you know that's going to come from our cutting die, and she's got one there, and she cut that out of this. This is, again, one of the solid cardstocks, and on the back there's a darker color, but she used the lighter right there. And then Teresa did in many of these, in fact I think in almost all of the projects, she used the gold and silver pearls from Hunky Dory, so you can see that these self-adhesive pieces she just placed right there. Then going to the inside, so the front of her card is teal, the inside is blue, and Teresa especially does that, and I really like it. I think it gives you kind of a nice surprise when you open it up. Now she did the same process on the inside, so she used one of the solid cardstocks, cut that, and then took a 6x6, and you can see that she used right here, starting from the bottom of it, And you can see what a nice greeting or a nice kind of frame that provides. Now, may your birthday be filled with surprises. That again is one of the die cuts. So you've seen both of those sheets right now, and some jute and pearls, and you are done. Really, really nice and very simple to execute. So that worked out nicely. Now we'll go to Teresa's second card. And she is bringing back our Dazzle cards, and just works so nicely. And let me show you how she did that. This is done using the Swirls Dazzle cards, and they are already printed for you, and they come flat. They are scored. They come with envelopes, and there are 5 in a package. And what Teresa did to get this very watercolor look is she went into the craft mat and took some of the Prism ink pads. Now, she lists the pear green, the royal blue, the blueberry, and the teal. Now, she also lists the Gringe, but she did not use that in this process, so that's going to be something a little bit later. So what she did is to start with the lightest color, which is the pear green, and just kind of smoosh it, technical term, into the craft mat. I know that's hard to see. Blueberry is also a lighter shade, so we're going to add that. Maybe you could see a little bit more of that. And she said to kind of do this in about a 6.5-inch area. So we're not covering it, we're just doing a few little dabs. Okay, now, there we go. We're going to mist it with the water, like so. Okay, and then we're going to smoosh this Dazzle card into it. Now, you really can't predict what's going to happen, so we'll just see. And I'm going to smoosh this way, and I'm going to smoosh that way, and we'll see how it looks. Okay, so I need to get over. Okay, as my craft mat is slipping here. Now, the other thing that Teresa said is that she likes to place the finished piece between 2 pieces of paper. Now, I'm going to go back and do a little more smooshing, but you get the idea. Well, maybe I won't. But you can see how pretty that is as they are kind of modeling together. Now, Teresa's was slightly different. Well, that's going to be slightly different. But you can just go back and do the same process, no big deal. Okay, so I kind of hate to take your time, but maybe just for a minute. Okay, just a second. Just doesn't take long. There we go. The smooshing. This is a very popular technique. And as I said, it's unpredictable, but very neat. So again, just whoosh. Besides, you like seeing when it isn't perfect, don't you? I know you. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to, and there we go. Okay, oh, I kind of like that in the middle, although that's going to get covered up by our cutout. So there you go. So you can see it's kind of different. You can leave some of the white or cover it up totally, your choice. Now let me clean this off. That's the crunching of the package of baby wipes. And I will set this aside and this aside, and we'll go back to our card. And if you are not familiar with the Prism ink pads by Hunky Dory, I can tell you that they work beautifully. They are water-based, and they are inexpensive. So it's got several things going for it. Okay, so here is our card, and as I said, so she is going to do one of the cutouts, and the cutout comes from the 12 by 12 package, and you can see the Hello Beautiful right there, and isn't she gorgeous? Very substantial size. You can see on this 5 by 6.5 card, she does a nice job of filling the center area. Now, Teresa didn't want to leave it right there, so of course she did some extra things. One of them is that she went into the gold cardstock. So there's the metallic gold cardstock, and she die cut the crown that is right here in the cutting die and glued that to the top of her head, and As I wiggle that, you can just see what a nice job that does. Then she also, in the cutting dies, did the two seahorses, or did one of this, well, all three of them actually. The large one twice, and then the small one once. And she did that out of the solid cardstock. And let me show you. So here is the darker shade, and on the back side is the lighter shade. So you can see that works out very nicely. And she did just glue them to the cutout. The cutout has been foam taped on top. Now, to add even more kind of sparkle and shine, she went with the red and the blue jewel dazzles. So you can see that the blue is in among the swirls, and the red and blue tiny ones are on her crown. So there we go. Really pretty, very, very nice. Okay, we have that blue and teal front, and on the inside we're going with green. Now, Teresa said that normally she wouldn't have covered the inside of her card front. However, when she did the smooshing technique, it kind of bled into the back of her card. Now, I only had a little bit of that, but if that happens, we have a solution for you. And it's part of what you get in the collection, and it is the cutouts. So let me come back to you. Actually, in this case, the cutouts are on a different card. Sorry. So what she did is she took this sheet, okay, and covered the inside with the solid teal. So here that is again, okay. And then she cut this piece right here to glue right down. So that worked out very nicely. It covered up the problem that she had. Then up here, the thinking of you, that comes out of the cutouts, just the same sheet that was on the front, thinking of you. She did mat that on gold, and then she die cut the compass out of gold also, and glued it right there. So this stays very flat. This is also very flat. And what she did here was take this piece, and you can see the pearls going down here, the seafoam and pearls, and you can see that she cut a piece starting right up here to go right there, and matted it on that same teal. And then she did something that many of our design team has done, but it's always kind of a surprise to me. Perhaps I need to pay more attention. But this is out of the die cuts, and this is a border. So look what she did. She just glued half of it there and half of it right there. And it adds a bit of a blue to all of this teal on the inside, matches the mat that was on the thinking of you. So that worked really nicely. Then again, going back to our mermaid, she did her out of gold with the gold crown, and isn't that pretty? And her face and her hair are all debossed, as are her scales, so you really get that dimension and the shine of her. Just really pretty. Of course, we have another seahorse right there, and that finishes this card. So really, really nice. And these Dazzle cards just work out so nicely. And we do have 5 designs, and we're going to have more for Christmas. Yes, in fact, we're working on them right this moment. Okay, let me get you another card from our Teresa. And this has a belly band. So there we go. Down by the sea, you and me. I'm going to slip this off and get going on the card itself. Now, this is a gatefold card, as you can see, but it has a surprise inside, and that is that this becomes a little mini easel. Very nice. So Teresa's always has surprises for us. So as you probably know, to make a gatefold card, we take our regular 5 by 6.5 inch cards. Now, they come scored, but they come flat. So you leave it flat, and then you measure in 2.5 inches from each side, score that, and then simply fold it. Now, what this gives you is the gatefold card, but it does leave you a score line in the middle. So you really want to cover that up, which Teresa, of course, has done. So we call these gates because this is a gatefold. Okay, so let me bring the finished card back in. and let's walk through this. So what Teresa did is she used the 12 by 12 Seafoam and Pearls paper. So this is the one, and she cut it to be the size of her card front, and then cut that piece in half and simply glued one half to each of the gates. So that worked out very nicely and very smoothly, I might mention. Then, can you see the silver sparkle at the top and the bottom? Well, those are thin line dazzles, and they come in a package with black, white, gold, and silver. And Teresa did one at the top, and again, you can see that it just goes straight across. And then she did two at the bottom. Actually, yeah, she did two at the bottom and did two different ones. And I'm always amazed at how tiny they are, and yet what a nice accent they provide. So that's really good. So that's the front of our card. Pretty plain, but it is, of course, going to have the belly band. We'll talk about that later. Okay, here we go. Now, again, this is blue on the front. We're going teal on the inside. And I do want to mention that when you are folding your piece, you do want to use a bone folder or something to really secure those folds so that they will stay down. Okay, now into the inside. And what we have are several things going on. So Teresa has used this paper, and you can see we used this earlier, and that is for the inside of her card, this piece. So it's slightly smaller than our 5 by 6.5 inch and works very nicely. So you can see, in fact, let me lift this up. You can see that she started at the top and cut this piece. You can see that swirl right there. So it just creates this wonderful kind of texture going on, which is really, really nice. Then she has placed some of the cutouts from the sheet right here, and that's just going across. You brighten my day. That comes from the cutout, from the die cuts. And let me bring it here. There you go, you brighten my day. So again, it's the teal, but the blue is kind of a pop of color. This little guy also comes from the die cuts, and there he is. So that little piece is just placed right there. Again, the thin line dazzles, top and bottom. Just want you to see that shine. And let me also, just so that you know, this piece is from the cutout, so it's right there. And that's one good reason why we do leave some of these with only the art, without the words, so that you can layer them just like that. So that's fun. Now, on the sides of this, Teresa has used this sheet, and this is on the back of our very first sheet, okay? And what she's done is to use the area at the bottom, so you can see those pearls streaming down. So a piece here, and then the next piece is right there. So she glued those, same thing, thin line dazzles. But then to make her easel, she's done something I think very clever. And in all of our paper collections, we do have these. We started doing them this year, and we've just had so many people appreciate them. In fact, Teresa's done a really fun thing with this. In fact, here is one, and it's this one. So she simply cut that out, straight lines, and folded a little bit of it back to attach behind this piece. Okay, so yes, I should have told you that earlier, but it just works so nicely. And then she scored it in half, and then these are pieces from the cutout selection. So the Love You, oh yes, and the circle, all of those are from the die cuts and the cutouts, so that works nice. A pearl right there, and that's the only pearl on the inside, so that takes care of that. Now let's look at the belly band. The belly band starts with a piece that is 11 by 1 3/4, and then what you do is take that strip, slip it over your card, and you want to make sure that it will slip on and off easily. It's just like that. So see, it's not real tight. I can move this very simply. And then she did place, glue some paper to the front and to the back, because you're going to overlap those pieces and attach them. You can see that she continued with the thin line dazzles in the front and on the back and on the front. You can see that the jute is also, so the things are all carried through. Now this is obviously a piece of the pattern cardstock. Down by the sea, You and Me, that's one of the cutouts, and that has been foam taped. Being cardstock, it's sturdy enough to foam tape and to hold its shape. This bow was made from the jute and zodded on top. We've got some little pearls there and a pearl there, and slip that on and you are done. Very, very nice. I love the look of Down by the Sea, the Seafoam and pearls. Isn't that pretty? Okay, I have one more card with more techniques, and here is the one. I showed you that in the very beginning. And as I said, this is kind of a tunnel effect. It's really neat. And look what happens, the way she's attached things. Those fish are just going to pop out. Very fun. Very easy to do also. So what Teresa did, now this is the chipboard, and I'll talk to you about the coloring of it, because she did something a little different. Of course she did. She's our Teresa. But I do want to show you how this worked. Okay, so you're first going to take a 5 by 6.5 piece of teal, and that is going to become the base of your card. Then she cut a piece of the pattern cardstock, and let me bring that in, and she used the area in the center because she really wanted this oceany, sea swirling look. So that piece was glued on top. Now she cut a second piece, not on the back of this, but just to show you. She cut a second piece, excuse me, that's 5 by 6.5 inches. Then she also cut another piece of the marble. So again, you get 2 each of these, and there's plenty of room to cut 2 pieces out of this. That is going to go on the front of it, okay? And that is going to end up being die cut with our rectangle dies, okay? So you're going to take a solid one, solid shape, not a scallop, and put that in the center and run this piece through your die cutting machine. Now that is going to be the top piece, okay? And the die is 4 by 4 3/4. By the way, all of the instructions, all of the dimensions are down below. Just click on the card and it will take you to the location where the instructions are. They're on the right side of your screen. You can even print them off if you want to, so that works nicely. So when you do that die cutting, you will have the frame all done for you. Then you're going to cut 4 more pieces. You're going to cut 2 pieces that are 3 inches by 3 3/4. You're going to score them every 1/2 inch. Teresa recommended the hunky dory adorable scoreboard, say all of that if you will, looks like this, so that you can just place your piece down and go right by your 1/2 inches. So you're going to get 2 of those, and you can see that those are going to go at the top and the bottom behind our frame. And then you're going to cut 2 pieces that are 3 inches by 6 1/4. Same deal, score every 1/2 inch. Now, when you have each of those pieces, you're going to take the extra sticky tape, and Teresa used the 1/2 inch, and you're going to place it on the each of the front and the back of the accordion fold. By the way, when you fold it, you're going to begin and end with a mountain fold. So your first one is a mountain, valley, mountain, valley, mountain. Okay? So you're going to put the extra sticky tape on this side and on the other side, and then attach the side piece. I would do them one at a time. I would do the side pieces, the long pieces first, and then do the 2 short pieces. And you can see they're going to go right next to the opening. Okay, that way it's going to make it very easy. Now, the piece that you die cut out of here, as I said, is in that swirly area, and that's the piece that can go right here. So then you have your accordions attached to the frame. Then you can place the frame onto your backing. Very simple, very easy. And this will nicely collapse down to go into an envelope. And it'll be pretty sturdy too. So it's not very thick, so that's nice. Okay, now what did the lady do to get all of this with the chipboard? So I'm going to bring back in my craft mat, and I'm going to bring in my chipboard. And Teresa recommends pulling the pieces out to do this. So I will pop this guy out. You can see, even though it's got so much going on, I just love it. It's really pretty. We'll get in close so that you can see this. Now this is a large fish, and in Teresa's directions, so I'm going to let you see one of the fish right there. In her directions, she tells you what colors to use with what. So for the large fish, she is going to use a powder blue, a teal that we used earlier, and let me find again, okay? And she also used an electric blue. So she used the 3. Okay. Now, what she found is that if you pounce a little bit, lightly tapping on the chipboard with the ink pads, you'll get a mottled kind of sandy looking. So let's see. Generally, you want to start with the lightest color first, so in using these 3. Now, you don't have to do all of the colors on all of the chipboard. You can do little areas if you want, your choice. So I'm going to scoot this over to give me a little bit of space. So lightly tapping, toot, 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 toot. Okay, that was our powder blue. Then I'm going to go to teal. Which is darker. And to get the full effect, we really have to let this dry, which, okay. And yes, it will raise up with itself. So I'm going to go back to the powder blue, just get a little bit more in there. So can you see that sandy look? It's kind of a mottled look. And I think it's pretty neat. So there you go. And it's going to be even more mottled as it dries. You'll just see that a little bit better. And if you want to, you can always spritz it with water. Now, if you would do that, it's going to blend the colors. So I'll do it, but that's not what Teresa recommended. But I just want to show you another piece. Okay. So as that dries again, those are going to shift a little bit as the water is drying. So it's a really neat technique. Now she has quite a few colors. In fact, let me just spread them out for you to use in different ways. And I thought it was really clever that she used the warm honey as the base to the Seize the Day. I thought that was fun. And also on the shells and the coral, and then added other colors on top. So you get some really fun looks with this. Okay, that finishes. Oh, wait a second, that doesn't quite finish. We've got to attach these. So you can see that the smaller fish are right on the backing, as is one of the seashells. But then she used this accordion, this frame, to attach these with the specialist glue onto those folds. Same thing that she did with these fish, and I think that's really fun. She attached them to the fish is to the side of the frame, okay? That way they're popping up. Now they go flat when they're mailed. And then 2 pieces here. The Seize the Day is attached on 2 sides with a starfish. And again, we're going back to those gold and silver pearls. Now, if you like, you're thinking, okay, this is great and I really like it, but where do I put my message? Well, how about on the back? Now, that's what Teresa did. Very clever. So this is the blue solid cardstock. You can see this is one of the frames that's in the book. and one of the cutouts, and a chipboard. We hadn't used our crown with some pearls on it. So you can scoot that over, you can write your message or your hello or whatever, so you don't miss out on giving even your personal words to this. Okay, well, that's what we have today. I hope you are as excited about this. I thought it was really a fun collection and a very interesting grouping of designs in the papers and all of the pieces. Very fun. I love having the mermaid with the crown. I thought that was really fun. So we have the 12 by 12 pattern cardstock, the 12 by 12 solid. We have the die cuts. We have the 6 by 6 papers with the cutouts. We have the cutting die. And we have the chipboard. All of these are in our grouping now. If you are interested in getting our collection, we do one every single month. We have something for you. We call it a subscription. Yeah, that's not just us. They're around other places, but ours are very special because it's our goodies. And you do have all of these pieces, which is really fun. Now, if you want it all, maybe not the cutting die, but you want everything else, we call it I Want It All subscription. Aren't we clever with that? And when you sign up, you will get these every single month. You will receive them before we do the webisode, so you can start playing. And by the way, on back of every package, we do give you an idea. The ideas are not shared in this webisode, so there are other ideas for you just to kickstart your creativity. And we will give you a 20% discount. How good is that? Now, if you want it all, but you know you really want it all, meaning you want the cutting die too, well, that's what we call the other subscription. I really want it all. Same deal. You're going to get everything. You're going to get the 20% discount, and you're going to get it before we do the webisode. So that is perfect for so many of you, and we appreciate that. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, we hope that you will like us. We hope that you will comment, because we'd love to hear what you think. By the way, we'd love to hear what you think of Paper Wishes too. And subscribe. Then come on over to paperwishes.com. Take advantage of the money saver. Take advantage of the goodies. Because, by the way, this collection is only available on paperwishes.com. That's right. It is exclusive to us. And as I said, the directions are down below. You can click on them and give us your comments. We'd love to know what you think. We're very excited by this, and what I see from our VIPs, they're excited too. Okay, well, that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us, and as always, thank you for being part of our Paper Wishes family. We'll see you next time.